Hello and welcome into the show, Chicago. You've found your way back to Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio. I am your host, Adam Karnick. Very excited to be with you guys tonight. Going to be a very, very baseball-heavy show tonight. The Sox and the Cubs both have the night off. We are roughly a third of the way through the season. I'm not sure quite exactly math-wise that it's quite a third for either team, but close enough. Kind of a good opportunity to kind of step back, see where both the White Sox and the Cubs are to this point in their respective seasons, and what more can we expect from them this year and going forward. And then when we're done with that, we're going to jump on over to the hardwood. The Chicago Sky are playing right now, defending their first ever WNBA title. We will check in on them. And then the NBA Finals are going on. The Bulls, of course, are not in them, but there were some rumors swirling around of a couple of players that are being linked to the Bulls. Would it make sense for them to go after these guys? We'll talk that and a little more, and maybe a little bit of NBA draft talk, as that's coming up here in a couple weeks as well. All that and more coming on up this week in Chi-Town Weekly. Buckle it on up. Let's have some fun. And once again, welcome on into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am your host, Adam Karnick. Just glad to be with you here tonight, getting ready to talk all kinds of some fun stuff going on. The chat room's already going a little bit. Taryn Rodriguez is in there. Good evening, Taryn. Oh, he's got some Bulls thoughts that are he's just trying to troll. You're just trolling me with that one, Taryn. Zach LaVine, a future Laker. Yeah, you're just trying to get me set off here early in the show. We got 55 minutes of show here to go, and Taryn's trying to push my buttons right out of the gate. We will get there. We'll get there. Before we go any further, I do want to acknowledge our sponsors here, not only for this show, but also for the network. The Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. Find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, or find them on Facebook by searching Southern California Warriors. IE Sports Radio is available for you at IE Sports Radio. That'll work for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. For the last 8 years now, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country, like this one. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans for the fans, and with your help, we're ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all of our shows, and higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you so very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports, and for making our 8th anniversary so special. And here's to many, many more years to come. At this point, I do want to shout out our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised, Emlos Gate, Key to the Gate, and our anonymous donor. Thank you very much for your support. And not only is IE Sports Radio available for you on Twitter, this show is available for you on Twitter as well. At IESRC is where you can follow along with the show. And also you can follow my personal Twitter feed at Adam_Karnick. And if you are listening live here tonight on June 6th, be sure hop on into the chat room there in Spreaker. Hello, Taryn. Good evening, Gina. Gina just got done doing her show, repping to NorCal sports, talking a lot of Warriors. I know that's the buzz going around the Bay Area right now as the Golden State Warriors trying to clinch their next NBA title going up against the Boston Celtics. So be sure, hop on into the chat. We can interact, have some fun that way. Or if you just want to sit back and listen and let me entertain you, I am here for you, however that works. No matter what, just thank you for being here and including me in part of your week and part of your sports, part of your sports regimen. I really do appreciate it. So I wanted to start things off tonight with baseball, and how perfect. I just saw our baseball show, the Screwball Podcast. They're on Thursday nights, 10 o'clock Central Time. You can listen to them. They keep you up to date on everything happening in MLB. The Screwball guys, they just retweeted a tweet from Fox Sports MLB that former White Sox pitcher Dallas Keuchel has signed a minor league deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Dallas Keuchel didn't stay on the market for too terribly long. The Sox weren't able to trade him when they designated him for assignment, but he winds up in the minor leagues anyway. On the one hand, I'm surprised that Keuchel chose to take a minor league deal. On the other hand, that's probably all he was going to get. I mean, you remember his performances with the White Sox here the past season plus have been abysmal, awful, terrible, whatever negative adjective you want to use to describe them, with very fleeting and very few and far between instances of showing like the guy that he was the first year in town when he had an ERA of 1.99. Just no control over the strike zone. And for a guy that doesn't have and never really had blow you away stuff, that was always somewhat reliant on control, to lose that ability to locate all of his pitches, he was doomed. So I'm not shocked that that's all he could get was a minor league deal. He just happens to be in Arizona with the Diamondbacks. Best of luck to you, Keuchel. Wish it would have turned out better, but here we are. So that's kind of a good starting off point for the White Sox as a whole, because as we sit here on June 6th, they've got the night off. They did just take 2 out of 3 from Tampa. And I'll be honest, that surprised me. That surprised me a little bit as I look in. My goodness, basically everybody's got an off night tonight in Major League Baseball. They've only got 6 games on the docket, one of which got postponed. So they only wound up with 5 games tonight. So only 10 teams active, 20 teams with an off day. So let's take a look at the standings. The White Sox currently are in 3rd in the American League Central. They're a half game back of the Guardians. The Guardians were supposed to play today. Their game got pushed back to tomorrow. They're going to do a doubleheader tomorrow. And they are 5 games back of the Twins. They're 25 and 27 overall. 5 games back of the Twins. They're 3 back in the only 3 back in the loss column. So 7 back in the win column. In theory, you can make those up easier just, from winning, just the sheer fact of winning your games. You don't need the Twins to lose as many games to catch up to them. They're actually 2 games back of Cleveland in the loss column. So really they're They're more like a game behind Cleveland instead of just a half game. But they've struggled so much this season. Those of you who are regular listeners to the show, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you know that I like the advanced numbers. I like the advanced metrics that baseball has come up with throughout the last, has really started to use in full force over the last 15 or so years. You know, things like OPS and OPS plus and weighted runs created plus and those kinds of metrics, or if you want to think of a pitcher, your BABIP, your batting average on balls in play, or things like that. I like diving into those numbers a little bit. I like having fun with that. We don't necessarily need to do that though with the White Sox to understand where they're at. Just look at their run differential. Their run differential right now is a minus 56. That is fourth worst in the American League. Two of the other four teams behind them are in their own division. Detroit and Kansas City are behind them there. I'm sorry, it's fourth worst. There's only three teams that have a worse run differential in the American League than the Sox. Detroit, and two of them happen to be in their division. Detroit and Kansas City, and then Oakland out there in the Bay Area. The Oakland A's with a minus 63 run differential to this point. The A's are 20-36. They're 16 games under 500. The White Sox are only 2 games under 500. Why does that matter? Run differential is a nice way of monitoring, you know, how legit is your record. And this is where we're going to go into the advanced stats a little bit. Baseball Reference has a statistic, and I don't think it's exclusive to them, but they're always where I can easily find it. You'll sometimes hear things called the Pythagorean win, your Pythagorean record. Boy, that's a fun word to say. I like math. I don't necessarily like saying some of the math terms and words. They tie me up. I'm definitely not looking forward to the day when my daughter winds up in grade school and comes to me with her math homework. I'm definitely going to be Bob Parr from Incredibles 2, where he's sitting there going, when did they change math? Math is math. That's definitely going to be me in a few years. At the same time, I like these kinds of uses for math. But you look at the Sox this season. They're 25-27, but with a run differential as low as it is, frankly, they shouldn't be as good as they are. There's I talked about the Pythagorean win-loss record. Effectively, what that looks at is it looks at your run differential and says, okay, if you have this run differential, this is kind of the record we would expect you to have. Yes, based on the Pythagorean theorem, exactly. Based on other math, a fun use for other theoretical math stuff. So basically, they're looking at, okay, if this is your run differential, this would be the record we would expect you to have. So you can use that to then look at their real record and say, okay, are they underperforming or are they overperforming? Based on their run differential, the Sox should be 20-32. They should be 12 games under 500. They're 25-27. They are way overperforming based on... Yes, I said my mom chimes in the chat. Yeah, our math story problems. The standard answer was always, who cares? Yeah, that was math. That's going to be me in just a few years helping my daughter with her math homework. But what this tells us, this theoretical win-loss record of 20-32 compared to their real record, that tells us they're way overperforming. So how are they overperforming? Well, you look at the individual players, you look at the guys themselves and the numbers that they're having. It's not on the offense where they're overperforming. I mean, you look at, we're going to use OPS plus because that's a standardized number. This is one of those numbers where it's, okay, league average is 100. You want to have a score of at least 100. If you're below 100 in this particular score, you're doing very poorly. As a team, they have an OPS plus as a team of 90. And looking at some of their more traditional numbers, their slash line, batting average, on base, and slugging. As a team, they're batting 240, 294 on base percentage, slugging of 363. Yuck. For a team OPS of 657, which is 13th out of the 15 teams in the American League. Yuck. They are not getting any offense. And then an OPS plus score of 90. So as a team, they are way below average. They are below average offensively as a team. And then you look at some of the overall numbers. And here are some guys, here are some guys who get some regular play. Gavin Sheets, OPS plus of 74. AJ Pollock, recently brought over from the Dodgers, who they play next. They have a 3-game series starting with the Dodgers tomorrow. OPS plus score of 68. All right, now he's been hurt. Okay, maybe that affects it a little bit, but still. Leury Garcia, who Tony La Russa insists on playing day in and day out. Some of it just because they keep getting hurt and you've got to have bodies out there. Leury Garcia's OPS plus, according to Baseball Reference, is 33. And that's not even the worst on the team. Yoan Moncada, another guy, again, who's been hurt some. He's only played in 19 games so far this season. He's got an OPS plus of 15. League average, an average ball player is 100. They are so underperforming offensively. And you look at some of the more regular numbers, batting averages. They have got right now, I'm looking at it real fast, 4 guys who are all below 200 on their batting average. And some of these guys, again, they're regular players. Yasmani Grandal, an OPS plus score of 44. He's batting 163. And okay, last year he got off to a miserable start, but man, he was drawing walks, and last year when he was making contact, he was slugging. He was hitting the heck out of the ball. On base this year, he's 274, slugging 213. He's not doing anything for you at the plate. He's got 2 home runs and 2 doubles this season. That's it for his on-base hits. 4 on-base hits in 46 games at 186 plate appearances. 4 extra base hits. Just, you're getting nothing from him. Leury Garcia batting 189. Josh Harrison brought over, to try and shore up second base, doing nothing for you. Slash line of 181, 265, 276, and OPS of 541. League average for OPS right now is somewhere in the 700s. You're so below where you need to be. Eloy Jimenez, okay, he's on the injured list right now. He's got an OPS plus of 70. He's barely batting over 2, and he's batting 222. Just, you're not getting good offensive production from these guys. And right now, they're in the middle of their window. They're in the middle of when they're supposed to be going for a championship. And they're getting such poor performance, such poor numbers overall from key guys. I'm not sure what to do to fix these guys. At this point, you've kind of brought everybody up from the farm system. You don't have Jake Berger hiding out down there in the farm system anymore. You don't have Eloy Jimenez. You don't have Andrew Vaughn hiding out in the minor leagues that you could just pull up and try to give this team a boost. I'm not sure what the thing is to do. And obviously, yeah, with Tim Anderson being out, that's huge. That's the crux of your offense right there. There's your table setter, your heart and soul of your team, and he's out for at least a couple more weeks. Hopefully they get him back soon. But I know a lot of White Sox fans want to fire the hitting coach. That you've got to do something. That you've got to do something to fix this, to figure out how to get this going. I would not be upset if they were to move on from their hitting coach. At the same time, I don't think that that's going to be a miraculous cure-all for the team. I was talking a couple of weeks ago with a guy on Twitter, talking back and forth about it, that move to me feels like the baseball equivalent of firing the offensive play caller. That sure, it makes a statement. It probably doesn't hurt the team, but how much is that really going to help at this point? You're a third of the way into your season. They're 25-27. You're 52 games in. So not quite a third. How much difference is that really going to make on professional hitters at this stage of the game? Sure, it'll make a nice statement. It might wake somebody up. To me, the move, and I know they won't make this for a lot of reasons. They won't make this move. To me, the move is you realize that you made a mistake by hiring Tony La Russa. You get him out of there. Joe Girardi just got fired by the Phillies. I'd grab him up on a heartbeat. I know that part of the reason he got fired is because you've got an underperforming offense out there in Philadelphia. You've got no defense, and the guys, the way you built the team was you were sacrificing defense because your offense was going to be so good. Boy, that sounds awfully darn familiar here, doesn't it? But Joe Girardi at least knows what he's doing. Tony La Russa, I've never felt like has been comfortable managing in this era of MLB. I thought it was a mistake when they made the move. A year and a half later, I still think it's a mistake. To me, that's the move to make. If you're going to make a move, make it mean something. Get rid of Tony La Russa. But I know they won't do that. Jerry Reinsdorf, that's his buddy. He handpicked him. He overrode the general manager, Rick Hahn. He made that move. That was the wrong move. But he's going to live and die with that move. So I don't know what to do to fix the White Sox. Hopefully, now they did turn around and they did take 2 out of 3 from Tampa this weekend. Exciting, great. I don't know. Great. Now you got to turn around and face the Dodgers for the next few days. Hopefully the Dodgers won't rough them up too much. Then when you get done with that, you've got the Rangers for a couple. You've got the Rangers coming in after that. We'll see. We'll see what they can do. But I'm getting nervous. I'm getting worried. Now I did hear this morning. It's looking like Lance Lynn should be back next week, which is great for the pitching rotation. Hopefully Eloy Jimenez comes back not long after that. But you got to do something to help this offense out, help this situation out, because it's problematic for the White Sox. Certainly, you're not quite there pushing the panic button yet, but you're getting awfully darn close. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, I want to talk about the baseball team on the other side of town. We are going to talk about the Cubs. The other side of a break. This is Chi-Town Weekly on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Back right after this.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with lists of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the college, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies.
And your one-timers.
You wicked wristas.
And be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here, everyone, on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Wanted to say hi to Davidson Crooks. He hopped into the chat there right before the break. Davidson, stick around. I'm going to need your opinions here coming up in a little bit. We're going to talk some Cubs, but then after that, we're going to talk some hoops. Davidson is one of the hosts of Fast Break here on IESR. Catch him and Interius every Sunday at 7 o'clock Central Time. The Bulls had some rumors going on during NBA Finals, so I wanted to get Davidson's thoughts on some Bulls stuff there. But before we get into basketball, want to talk a little bit about the Cubs. We talked quite a bit about the White Sox there in the first segment. Understand it because the White Sox are supposed to be in their championship window, so it's frustrating that they're so underperforming and so underwhelming to this point in the season. Then we go up to the north side. Yeah, nothing's expected of the Cubs this season. They're just kind of existing and going through the motions. And they're actually underperforming. You know, we'll do some of the same setup here. So the Cubs, as we sit here, they've played, to this point, 55 games. They're 23-32. So they're 9 games under 500. They're in 4th place in the Central. They're 2.5 back of Pittsburgh. They're 9 back of St. Louis and 9.5 back of Milwaukee. Just got done with a 5-game set with St. Louis over the weekend. There was supposed to be 4, and then there was a makeup game that got thrown on there. The last two nights were nationally televised games. Both went extra innings. Cubs dropped them both. We did get to see the debut of Caleb Killian, though, on Saturday night. We'll talk about that a little bit. But as I sit here, 23-32, 4th place in the division, 9.5 back, 9 below 500. They only have a run differential, though, of -13. You know, they're way closer there to, they should be significantly closer to a 500 team. To put that in perspective, there are 6 teams in the National League that currently have negative run differentials. The Cubs are the only team with a run differential that's better than -37 for those teams. You know, they should be significantly closer to 500. Their Pythagorean record would be 26-29. Still sub 500 to this point, but a heck of a lot closer than they are. So they're underperforming. They've got to work on some pitching things. They've gotten a decent amount of offense as a club. They've gotten some decent offense. They need to get a little bit more, some more consistent. They still got some problems. I mean, Nick Madrigal is not working out at all from an offensive standpoint. Slash line of 222, 267, 253 for an OPS of 519, an OPS plus of 48. Yuck. But still, and if he were back on the White Sox, you know, an OPS plus of 48, heck, that'd be middle of the road. That'd be middle of the batting order, you know, compared to the White Sox. You've still got, as a team, their OPS plus is 102. So they're just slightly above average offensively. Pitching-wise, they've got to get some work done. They were down Marcus Stroman for a while. He had COVID. Kyle Hendricks is not consistent any longer with his performance. He's got an ERA of 5.22. And that's, oh God, I just looked at his fielder independent pitching, which is effectively, again, I love the math numbers, the geeky numbers. It's abbreviated FIP, F-I-P. Basically what it looks at basically strikeouts versus home runs. So it tries to take things like errors or bad plays in the field behind you or good plays in the field out of the equation. It basically, when you compare it to a regular ERA, it's, hey, are you being helped by your defense? Are you being hurt by your defense? With an ERA of 5.22, all right, well, maybe he's had some bad defense behind him that would be affecting that. Maybe his FIP score will be down in the fours at least, right? Nope. It'd be 5.44. He's actually getting helped by his defense, and he's still got that terrible of an ERA. Woof. Ugh. The professor may not be the professor anymore, I hate to say. Justin Steele, the starter from last night, he looked very good last night, going 7 innings. David Ross talked after the game about how Ross gave Steele some pitching advice from John Lester. Gave him some advice to try to, how to establish his fastball to try to improve. And he had a terrific start last night. Overall, though, his numbers aren't great. 4.79 ERA. Not good. A whip, walks and hits per innings pitched at 1.5. He's giving up at least a hit an inning on average, and a walk every other inning. He is getting strikeouts though, and that is something that the Cubs lack. Certainly as a rotation, they lack that overall. As just a pitching staff, they don't have a lot of that. They don't have a ton of speed in their pitching. But still, where are we at with this team? Wilson Contreras is mashing the ball overall. But do we really care at this point? I mean, dude's going to get traded. Wilson Contreras is going to get traded. So is there any reason to get excited by the fact that he's got an OPS plus of 157? That he's a slash line of 276, 401, 515, an OPS of 916. Again, league average is somewhere in the 700s. He's having a terrific offensive season. Do we really want to get excited about that? I don't know. I mean, because in the next 2 months, he's going to be gone. They're not going to keep him around. One guy that is fun to keep track of is Christopher Morel. In 20 games, he's gotten on base in all 20 games. He's doing 23 hits in 20 games. And he's also already drawn 11 walks. Very possibly the league is going to figure him out here, you would think. But to start off, he's hitting 291, OPS of 849, OPS plus of 138. All this from a 23-year-old kid that wasn't even supposed to be up here yet. That's exciting. That's cool. That's fun. That's something to maybe get a little excited about. We'll see. There was an article that got referenced in the Chicago Sun-Times last night during the game on ESPN. A buddy of mine actually texted it to me before the game. He texted it to me on Saturday even, so I know it came out in Saturday's paper, where they're basically scathing the Cubs for being in the position that they're in. That why aren't the Cubs Why can't the Cubs be more like the Cardinals, where they're in it every single year? Maybe some years they're in it more than others, but they never go through these ridiculous losing streaks. Why isn't it that way for the Cubs? I do get the feeling that the Ricketts, now that they've won a World Series, the Ricketts are content to just sit back and you've got your television network, you've got your ballpark that is a destination in and of itself. They're working on building a sports book out there that they're going to be raking in the dough, and the fans are going to come kind of regardless. So you kind of get the feeling that from ownership, that the feeling is our work here is done. Now we can just sit back, and no matter how bad it gets, we'll always be the owners that broke the curse. We'll always be the guys that went out and got Theo and got Jed and made all the improvements to the park that made it possible for the Cubs to break the curse. That was definitely the crux of the article. I don't know that I agree with it 100%, but I'm awfully close. I'm awfully close to that. It really does feel like the Ricketts, they'd like to win. It would be great to win. But why does it have to be so expensive? That's kind of their attitude. And it's disappointing. These are the Cubs. They should be contenders more often than not. You shouldn't have to win a World Series and then 5 years later you're tearing everything down and starting over from scratch again. They should have been able to sustain this, to sustain what they had in 2016. At this point, I mean, they've chosen a lane, I guess, see it through. But it is a little disappointing that it looks like, man, this might just be a roller coaster. This might just be a perpetual thing with the Cubs, that it's up for 5 years, down for 5 years, up for 5 years, down for 5 years. And it doesn't have to be. They can be more consistent. They just need to want to be that. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Cubs. All right, I do want to take one more quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk a little bit of hoops. Get on the hard court. The Chicago Sky are doing good things defending their title. Got to get a little bit of work in to make sure they're taking out some of the elite of the WNBA, and also we got a little bit of Bulls to talk about too. All that and more right after one more quick break here on Chi-Town Weekly on eSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What is going on, everybody? This is Ben Matello, the host of the Yinza Report, right here on IE Sports Radio. I'm bringing you the latest in the Steel City, the City of Champions, from the Steelers, the Penguins, the Pirates, as well as the college game with both Penn State and Pitt. You could join me every Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, where I'll be talking about everything from the Steel City, the City of Champions, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy Dentarius Lava.
And we're the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here for one last segment here tonight. I'm your host, Adam Kernick. Thank you again for being with us here on this Monday evening. One more segment with us before we pass the baton on to Taryn Rodriguez at Set Point, talking all things volleyball tonight. Chicago Untouchables, did they get a win by chance, Taryn? Can you give us an update on that? I'm sure Taryn will have all kinds of good volleyball news for us. Seriously, check him out. He does a really, really, really good job. You would not believe how much volleyball news there is to be had on a weekly basis. And Taryn, he needs 2 hours every week to get through it all, and he does a fantastic job with it. So check it out. Coming up right after us. All right. After lots of baseball tonight, we've been very baseball heavy. Oh, there was no National Volleyball Association last weekend, so the Chicago Untouchables did not win, but that means they also did not lose. Positive spin on everything, right? They're off for a couple of weeks. So, all right, well, they've got some time to get ready then to get a win. So we talked a lot of baseball tonight. I did want to talk a little bit of basketball. We're going to start on the women's side with the WNBA first. The Sky currently sitting at 7-3 overall. They got a win against the Washington Mystics yesterday afternoon, 91-82. Honestly, it was not as close as that final score would indicate. They were ahead by quite a bit, very comfortably throughout the entire second half. They got out to a nice lead and were just kind of able to coast throughout the second half to it. The Sky, for the most part, through 10 games this season, they've done a really good job of getting out to leads early, but they haven't been able to hold on to those leads. The games have gotten very tight. The later and later they've gotten into the games, the more into the fourth quarter you get, the closer and closer and closer that they get. Having Kalia Copper back certainly is a help. She had 15 points yesterday to lead the team. They will be back at it on Wednesday night against the Mystics, completing a home and home against Washington. They're going to be down in Washington on Wednesday night to help with that. They're currently third overall in the WNBA standings, and that's right where they should. It's right where obviously their record would have them, and it's where a lot of their other numbers would have them. They're tied for the third best scoring team in the league. They average 81.7 points per game. That is tied with Connecticut, and they are just behind the Los Angeles Sparks. They're about 2 points behind the Sparks, and they're a little over 4 points behind the Las Vegas Aces, the best team in the WNBA. They've got the third best point differential average. They're winning every game by 5.5 points. That's third best in the WNBA, but quite a bit behind both Connecticut and Vegas, who Connecticut is winning every game by an average of 9.5 points. Vegas, darn near 10 points a game. They're winning all their games by. So some work to do, some work to be done to catch up to the top, but the Sky are certainly doing good things. They're staying relevant overall. Then want to talk about the Bulls real quick. Of course, the NBA Finals are going on right now. The Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics are active right now. Game 3, they're tied at a game apiece. Game 3 is tomorrow night, I believe, either tomorrow night or Wednesday night in Boston. They're tied up at a game apiece. Gina, of course, Northern California. Big Warriors fan, so I know she's excited about that. The Bulls aren't out of the news, though. There was some talk that came through today that there's a couple of Wednesday night. Thank you, Gina. Wednesday night is game 3. There's some talk that the Bulls could be in the mix for a couple of centers, and interior defense to me would make a lot of sense. Vucevic is not a scoring is a scorer. That is who and what he is. He does not give you much on the defensive presence, and the Bulls need help defensively. And Vucevic, unfortunately, this past season he wasn't giving you a lot offensively to make up for his lack of defense. It wasn't like Levine or some of the other guys who were scoring night in and night out. Vooch was not consistent scoring for you at all. So it would be nice to see the Bulls do something there at center. And there were a couple of names that came up this afternoon that I'm intrigued by. And this is Kevin O'Connor for the Ringer first reported this. They're looking, one would be a free agent center, Mitchell Robinson. Hey, all that cost you is money, and he's a decent defensive presence. Gives you a little bit more offense, but he's not a great scorer. Or the other guy, Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz. Now, here would be an elite player. Rudy Gobert would be an elite defensive man. He doesn't give you much of anything offensively, but one of the top players, one of the top big guys down low defensively, a great defensive presence. That would be interesting. Now, he's expensive. Not just, how much you'd have to trade to get him, but he's making an average of $42.5 million over the next 4 seasons. And it's not like the Bulls have a lot of trade assets as far as picks. They've got a first-round pick this year, but 2023, they don't have a first-round pick. 2025, they don't have a first-round pick. What are you willing to give up for him? I don't know if they could make it work, but man, you want to talk about adding a defensive presence onto the team. That would be adding a defensive presence onto the Bulls. We're going to talk some more Bulls here in the near future because the NBA draft is coming up, and the Bulls actually have a first-round pick this year, and it's not 7th overall. They made the playoffs. They have a deeper pick. They're picking 18th overall. We're going to break that down. Might get Davidson on. Might see if Davidson would be willing to jump on and talk some Bulls with us. Might see if Evan Bruner, he's been on the show before. Might see about getting them on as I spitball here. Some programming news. I will not be on next week for Chi-Town Weekly. No Chi-Town Weekly next week. Going up to Minnesota for a long weekend this weekend. Got a nephew of ours that's getting married, so we're going up there. I will not be back in town by Monday night, so no Chi-Town Weekly next week. I will, if you want to hear me, I will be on tomorrow night with Zach Popoulos on Neutral Zone. We're breaking down the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. The Colorado Avalanche are looking to win the Western Conference tonight over the Edmonton Oilers, and the Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning are going at it over in the Eastern Conference. So you can hear us talk about that tomorrow night. And next week, I am hoping that I'll be back in time to do Neutral Zone. We'll see. That should be possible. But no Chi-Town Weekly next week. So I will talk to you next 2 weeks from tonight. That's going to be, oh man, if I have to do math, that's going to be June 20th. Will be the next time we have a Chi-Town Weekly. So definitely we will be doing some Bulls draft coverage in that show. So we'll line some things up for you. In the meantime, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. It is summer. Enjoy it however you can, while you can. This is Adam Karnick for IE Sports Radio. We'll see you next time.